Anichka here for Hip Hop Camp News with the female MC Yugen Blakrok from South Africa.
Yes. What's up? What's up, everybody?
How are you enjoying Hip Hop Camp? You were the first act actually on the warm up. How was your experience?
It was great. Being the first act, we did feel a lot of pressure going up there, very first act to come through. But the response was amazing. I was surprised to find people that knew some of the tracks, to the videos and stuff. The atmosphere is great. The vibe was amazing. Everyone's taking care of us. First experience also of Hip Hop Camp, so it's been amazing.
Is this your first time in Europe, or you've already been?
The first time we came here was in April and May. We performed mostly in Germany, around Berlin, and in France and Sweden. So this time around, we came here first, and then we'll go back to Germany and Switzerland in the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Awesome. So I want to take it back a little bit. So how did you first encounter hip-hop culture? What was the first, if you can remember the first time that was like, oh, what it is?
Yeah, funny enough, I first started liking hip-hop maybe around 97 when Wu-Tang was doing their Wu-Tang Forever and Triumph and stuff. But a few years before then, maybe I was 7 or 8, there was some Whitney Houston remix that was going on at the time. I can't remember who the guys were, but I remember asking my uncle, what are they doing? Because, I was used to the melodic kind of singing vibe, and here were these guys talking, what are they doing? And he says, girl, they're rapping. So from there I knew, okay, there's this thing called rap where you don't necessarily have to sing. So I really got interested, as a young kid, and then growing up in the 90s as well, being influenced by those guys as well. That's how I got into it.
That's awesome. Can you remember the first track you wrote, like your first lyrics, and what was it about?
I can hardly remember. I used to write poetry. I was a very, very shy child, guys. I used to rap like this, I was scared of looking at people even. So I used to write a lot of poetry, and I'd perform it for my friends. And then at some point, I think I got the courage to sort of start rapping. I knew there was a difference in delivery, whereas with poetry, sort of saying things, with rap, you have to be more aggressive. So I don't really remember my first raps, but I remember the first few times I tried to rap, I had the worst time. But there was something that attracted me to it, so I kept going back. Even though I'd go and feel embarrassed, I'd go home and work a bit more, and then go and perform again. Yeah.
So, as a woman in hip hop, who was your inspiration? Because I feel there's not enough female role models. There are lots of female MCs, but they don't get the kind of exposure to become like. So who would you look up to, for example?
Yeah. To be honest, I never really thought of myself as a woman up until maybe 5-6 years ago. I realized, oh yeah, you're a woman. So getting into it, I liked Wu-Tang, I liked Killer Army, and it was always a crew of men, that would do their thing. So I never thought of myself as different, just as someone who enjoyed rap maybe as much as the guys did. But when I saw Queen Latifah, I think for the first time, or started noticing her, she really, really, at that time I was pretty young, so I didn't really get the politics between the genders, male and female. If you're 8 years old, you're just playing, you're just listening. But as I got into my teenage years, and there were Foxy Brown and Little Kims, and then that's when I decided, okay, this is basically what it means to be a woman in hip-hop. You have to make your decisions pretty earlier on. Queen Latifah was there like, who you calling a bitch? And guys were scared of her. They had the respect. And then Foxy Brown and Kim came, and they, who's the baddest bitch? And you see the respect going down, and you decide, okay, actually, I like this woman's vibe, like strength. So definitely Yo-Yo, even Apani, B-Fly MC, and Jean Grey, up until this day. I think she's one of the funniest people. Often they say women are not so funny, but as an MC, to be able to be serious and to crack a joke and occupy that space is a big thing. And I think for a woman to do that, in our climate, you know, where you have to be reminded that you're a woman, I think it's a really strong thing. So Jean Grey is one of my favorite MCs, I think, up until now, from the 90s, yeah.
I think that sometimes people don't think she's funny because she has like, I think that her humor relates to women, so they don't get it. Basically, that's why she's not funny.
Right. And you know what? When guys are going around doing the shake your ass, what, we don't find it funny either. So you know what? Fine. You know, there's space for everything. I think hip hop is vast enough that it's a big waste of time to try and argue about what a person likes. I mean, there's 7 billion people on this planet, you know, and I'm willing to bet like at least maybe 1 billion are hip hop lovers, you know. There's so many different aspects. We're coming from a culture where everything, individuality is celebrated, where within hip hop you have subgenres. You have your East Coast, you have your Midwest, you have your guys that are into horrorcore, you have the spacey people, your drug raps, everything you want you can find in hip hop. So for us to fight amongst each other is really a waste of all of our time, you know. There's space for everything, and you know, for growth, I think.
Can you describe a little bit the scene, hip hop scene in South Africa?
Yeah, the South African scene is quite divided. I think with a lot of countries, there's the mainstream, and then there's what is called the underground. Yes, it's become so boring. But I really do like the South African underground scene. In that there is space, you can see it. There are different people that rap about different things. And also in a South African climate, I mean, we have 11 official languages. So you have people rapping in English, in Tswana, in Xhosa, in Zulu, and finding their own identity and sort of putting it out there. Because we know, we appreciate the culture, but it's really the stateside people made it. You know, in the US, out of their own struggle, for us to be able to communicate our own stories using the medium is a great thing. So you'll find the different accents, you know, different points of view, whether people are into African religion or whether they're into the stars with their African perception of things. It's quite fun, you know. I'm not really interested in the mainstream. I'm not going to talk about it. It's boring. But yeah, for anyone that comes to South Africa, just look out for like the underground cats. You know, that's where the vibe is. That's where you see Africanness translated into hip hop with all our philosophies of Ubuntu and, you know, getting along, or even our philosophies on war. Even, you know, it's nice to see, and there are a lot of women coming up as well. Yeah, in South Africa, women are killing it, you know, on the mainstream level and on the underground level, I find. So we can have those discussions as to, as a woman, do you allow yourself to get dictated to about the things that you wear, about the things that you say, about the things that you think. You can actually have those discussions. Women are you know, like, what's the word now? Africanness. They're forthcoming with it, and extroverted, empowered even, yes. And we're getting to a point where that's gonna become the norm, I think. Yeah, we've heard enough from the guys, the misogynistic guys, obviously. You know, the really light thinkers we always appreciate, because these are the people that allow you to grow. These are the people, because I actually do believe that women are not necessarily born, but you're made, you know? You have fun until someone decides, hey, you're a girl, don't do that. Oh, you're a woman, don't, yeah. All of a sudden now you have to question your own identity and stuff. But I think that phase of hip hop is slowly just disappearing, you know? Like, we'll work for it.
So your last record was 2013. So what's cooking?
A brand new one that we've been working on. So some of the new tracks even that we've written, testing them out here at Hip Hop Camp, at new gigs as well, because I figure it's always nice to get some kind of feedback. It doesn't necessarily have to be an explicit criticism, oh, well, on that track, but when you want to just check out the vibe of where you're at, you know, it's quite nice to see people responding to something they've never heard before, and they react as though they know it quite well. So that's always a positive sign for me. Like even with the previous record, we spent at least maybe 3-4 years on it. Maybe 2 years I spent writing, and then mastering it took a while. But in between, before the release, I was going out performing the tracks, just sort of sussing out where hip hop is and where I fit in it as well. So with this one as well, I was quite nervous about it, approaching new subjects, different beats, growth obviously in the last couple of years as well. So from the first show, it sounded like, hey, can't wait to get back home and start releasing some of the tracks and putting them together. So maybe next year I'll have something solid for all my people. Thank you for being patient. It takes its own time, and we all have to learn to be patient, but I really, really appreciate the support as well.
So where can the fans check you out? The usuals, Facebook, Twitter. Do you tweet?
I try. I try very hard to tweet, but I'll put up gigs, collaborations and stuff on the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all these networks and stuff. And we're still selling our stuff on Bandcamp. Right. Coming out with merchandise. People can come through, just let us know what they think, because we also like to make our stuff on our own, so it's quite nice to hear from people what kind of tracks they're feeling, so that for our next range we can design something that fits with our people, and the nice thing about hip hop, I suppose, and connecting, is that you always find like-minded people, but also people that are willing to challenge where you're coming from, and that's the element of hip-hop that we appreciate the most. We're not a bunch of yes men, everything, yes, it's great. No, we must be discerning or say that's whack or that's good. I'm going for what feels good for me, so as much as we want to encourage people to find themselves, let's also have a standard. Let's make sure that our hip hop grows, that the lyricism is growing, that there's a level of respect amongst ourselves within, our own culture. So that's something we're really trying to go for. So, come through to the shows, let's share a vibe, spliff, whatever, all have a great time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.